guys, public speaking, that is one of my favorite quotes that I've included there. Okay. There are just two types of speakers in the world. One, the people who accept that they are nervous, and the second, who don't accept that they're nervous and basically they're lying, right? So everybody is nervous when it comes to public speaking. No matter whether you talk for the first time or you talk for the nth number of time, you would be nervous, right? That is very common, right? So I'm here to help you guys share a few tips that I myself used to overcome that fear that I had in public speaking, and also what you could do to become a better speaker, right? It's just the basics, okay? So moving in. Okay, guys. I always believe that public speaking is a lively art. Okay, and if you wonder why I would say that is when it comes to public speaking, what comes to your mind first? The first thing that comes to your mind, you all think that you all are standing on a huge stage, there are a lot of crowd, I mean, people are looking at you and the spotlight is on you. The whole audience is silent and they're waiting for you to talk and you're like wondering what to talk, right? That's the first picture that flows in your mind when you say public speaking. But let me tell you, it's not just that. Okay, public speaking does not only apply to where you go on stage and talk. It's not just that. Even if you want to go and ask out a girl, right, your loved one, you need to know how to communicate. Even if you want to talk to your lecturers, you need to know how to communicate with them. It's not the same way you talk. Like imagine you go to the VC and you're like, oh my God, sir, I hope that you understand my problem. I need to talk to you. You don't talk in tone, right? And when you go and ask out a girl, you don't talk in a very professional tone. You have that nice cheesy tone, right? So naturally, we people adapt according to the situation. Knowingly or unknowingly, we do that. We tend to talk, we tend to change our tone when we're talking to different people, and that happens naturally, and that's something really amazing, right? All that we have to do is start working on it. And why do we change that tone? Why do we kind of react and talk to people in a different way? The reason is because we want them to feel what we say, isn't it? Yeah, we want people to understand, to feel what we are saying, and that's why we put a lot of emotions, we change our tone, we do a lot of stuff, right, so that they'll be able to feel us. So that is why I always believe that public speaking is a lively art where you have to construct it creatively so that your listener is able to understand and feel what you say. Okay, right. And next point. Okay, the fears in public speaking, guys. Now this is something very common. Okay, when you hear the word public speaking, I have seen people who be like, oh my God, I can even jump off from the building but not talking in front of the crowd. I have seen people say that literally, right? Because they're so scared. Now what I want you to do is in the chat box, can people, like all of you here, can you all drop two things that you all are scared when it comes to public speaking? Okay, I had fear that when I'm on stage, some insect bites. Okay, I had that fear because I hate insects and I'm going to scream. So that fear was there. You might have a fear of falling down on stage. You might have different kind of fears, right, when it comes to public speaking. So I want you to drop me in the chat box two fears. Are public speaking kina vachana ahuwama, what is that fear that comes to your mind? Quickly drop me a message. Let me see what kind of fears that people are suffering from. Okay. And I'm here to help you out basically with few tips that you can overcome. So I want to know what kind of fear you all have. Like, I need to see some answers. Is the chat enabled?
Yes, Akka.
Okay.
It need public. Yeah.
Come on, guys. At least few of you all. When it comes to public speaking, what is the reason that you all are scared? Is it because Khattiya people might judge me? Or is it because I can't pronounce certain words? I might say it wrong. You know, you might have different answers, right? So I want to know. Okay, jumbling up words and pronouncing it in the wrong way. Perfect. Great. Some more. Anything. It can even be the point where you fear that you'll fall down on the stage, okay, or that you crack a joke and nobody laughs. It can be anything. In Sinhala, English, Tamil, I don't mind. Just drop to this thing. Pronunciation. Okay, Hashana. Okay. I need more answers that I might forget my points. Great. I have that. I can connect with you. Can I have more answers? I have fear that I would lose my train of thoughts. Lovely. Judgment of the people. Yes, of the biggest fear. Can I have more answers? Those who are sleeping, wake up and tell me why you're scared to talk. See, if you want, you can even unmute and respond, okay? No confidence, okay. Forgetting what I should talk and going blank. Very good. Okay, now the 2 or 3 more answers. Stuttering, forgetting to smile and look like a freak. Oh yeah, okay. Come on, there are 67 of you. I'm sure that I can get more answers. Y'all are here because y'all want to learn something about public speaking, right? Y'all are here, you have the passion, but still you don't know how to work towards it. So I need to know reasons why y'all are scared. You can even drop a message in Sinhala, that's fine. Is that it? Okay, right. So I think I've got answers for all your fears, guys. Like these are some of the common fears that we all have: being judged, being scared that you might forget the things, being scared that you can't make eye contact with people, and you forget what you have to say next. These are some of the common things, right? So let's see what you can do to overcome these fears. Okay. Okay. First thing, the fear of doubt. Okay, we all have this fear in every stage of our life. Then hitala balana, when you were doing O levels, you would have had this fear. Will I get 9 A's? Will I even pass my O levels? Then eko kohoma hari pass karla, you go to your A levels. And then you have this fear, oh my God, will I be able to get good results and go to the university? Will I get selected to medicine, engineering, management, whatever faculty it is, right? You have your passion, but you also have the doubts coming along with that, right? And then once you get into the university, you have a doubt. Now, will I be able to pass my degree, okay, and get a good GPA? So though you have the passion, guys, this doubt is something that follows us. And it applies to public speaking as well. Though we all have the passion, we have a doubt, will I be able to go in front and talk to a crowd? The next doubt is, will people listen to me even if I talk? I'm still having that doubt, okay? I don't know if you are listening to me. So even if I talk, even if you all listen, my next doubt is, will I be able to make an impact? Then you all can listen to me and just go home and do nothing about it, right? So that is my other doubt. Will I be able to make an impact to you all, right? So these doubts is something that is very common and it starts following you, right? And if you have such a doubt, what happens is when you're talking, it becomes very visible. No matter how much you try to hide it, it's hard. So what you can do is do things that you can overcome this doubt. First thing is you have to research your topic. Let's say your lecturer is giving you a topic to do a presentation. Okay, what do you do first? You research. Okay, you find information, you research, and you get a sound knowledge about the topic because you don't want to go and stutter in front of the crowd, right? So you have to do, when you're talking in front of a crowd, means it's a huge responsibility, guys, right? Because people are listening to you, so you have to talk in a way that they'll be able to understand. So you've got to do your research. And secondly, guys, then let's say that you forget what you have to say. That's very common. Even now in the chat, people had said, I forget stuff, right? You forget. You had properly planned, you've done your research. Then while you're talking, right? And now words are flowing out of your mouth which you were not supposed to say. That's happening naturally, right? You're saying something that you're not supposed to say. It's fine. Go ahead, say it, but be confident in what you're saying. Don't let the audience feel that you're stammering. Don't let them feel that. Whatever say it with confidence. That is an attitude that a public speaker should develop. I'm not saying may go on stage and lie, but in case when you forget something and you don't know what you're saying, it's okay. Let it go in that pace, but show that confidence that you know what you're talking. Okay, so that's what you can do about the fear of doubt. Secondly, the fear of nervousness. Trust me, guys, even now, I am nervous and my fan is running in 3 so that I don't sweat and you don't see me sweating, right? And if you're a beginner, I can totally understand that fear where your legs start to shake, voice is naturally shaking and you don't know what to do about it. You can't control it. And then you're cold, you're sweating, so many things are happening around and you're trying to cover it up, right? And this fear of being nervous is perfectly fine, because this is something, no matter what you do, no matter whether you're talking for the nth time or the first time, you could still have that nervousness. Okay, but if you want to get over it, now usually what we do, guys, we practice before a session, we practice, right? And practice what we do is we close the door. First thing, rule number 1, we close the door of our room, go in front of the mirror and practice. What do? We take a phone, we record ourselves, we watch it again. That's what we do usually, right? Or practicing, memorizing what we do. But that won't help you overcome the fear of nervousness, guys. Because public speaking, you're not talking to yourself, no. You're talking to a crowd. When you're practicing also, you should make sure you practice with the crowd. Okay, now you might have friends, are a friend sticker, tell them, guys, come, I have something to practice, make them sit and listen to you. That's the best way of practicing. Okay, you make a group of friends sit around you and you talk. You have this nervousness, or your words are not flowing, you get stuck and your face goes like you ate a ginger, right? You make weird expressions, right? And your friends will tell you, oh my God, don't do that. Okay, even last night I was practicing with my friends and they were like, if you get stuck, don't start talking to yourself, because I did that last night, right? So you need to practice with your friends to know where you go wrong. Even if it's not your friend, get your grandmother or mother to sit down and listen to you. That's the best way where you can overcome your nervousness. By practicing alone, I don't think, that's my personal opinion from what I have learned. Practicing alone will not help you overcome this nervousness. Okay. Thirdly. All right. This fear of eye contact. Okay. How many of you have this problem where you can't look into someone's eyes and talk? I did have it when I was when I was a school kid. Let it be my friends or let it be whoever who is sitting in front of me, I can't look into their eyes. I had that problem. It was a very terrible problem that I had to overcome. I'll tell you how I did it. I'll tell you why this fear of, the eye contact is important for public speaking. Now, a lecturer, okay? He teaches you by looking at the presentation that's behind him. Doesn't even look at you. Doesn't even know what you're doing. He just looks back and lectures. What do you all do? You all are not bothered to listen to him. He's not looking at you, so why should I listen to him? You all are on your phone. You draw things on your book. Well, that's what I do. I draw things on my books, right? So when a person doesn't look at you, you don't feel like paying attention to that person, right? So the same thing applies. When you're talking, you can look at the ceiling and talk, or you can look at the ground. A guy goes and proposes a girl, like in those Hindi movies you get where they look down and they're digging hole in the ground and they're trying to propose, and then the girl is not even there, she's gone, right? So making eye contact is so vital in whatever you do, guys, right? Because that will make the audience listen to you. Okay, so what do you know now? Even though it's important, people have that problem of looking into someone's eyes and talking. So what I did was that I looked at this point, the region just above your eyes. Okay, when you're talking, when you're looking at the audience, look at this point. If you're scared to look into their eyes, for you, you're not looking into their eyes, but for them, they see that you are looking into their eyes. Now, this is something you can follow as a beginner. When you keep on talking, you can get rid of that. And now I can comfortably look at someone's eyes and talk, because I've done it several times. But as a beginner during school days, I followed that, right? I would look here and talk. So you can also try that and see, maybe it might help you. But I must also say, then eye contact maintain karanna kiyala, don't keep staring at that person for like 5 to 7 seconds. Like, I keep staring at you, so this is what I want to talk. That the listener would get scared and feel uncomfortable also. Imagine someone is looking at you, the listener would be like, okay, do I look weird? Is something is wrong on me? Like that. So don't give that impression. A time period of 3 to 4 seconds at one region is sufficient. Okay, so after 3 to 4 seconds, you keep looking somewhere else. I mean, look at the other end of the audience. Okay, so this is something that you can do to overcome eye contact. Okay, so let's move to the other one. Oh yeah, you can see glossophobia, something that Punsara also gave you an introduction about. Right, fear of forgetting. I saw this in the chat box. Okay. The people who personally know me know how much I'm suffering from this problem of forgetting things, right? Like how much ever I try to overcome, I have that problem. Even in my day-to-day life, I forget things. Then I keep a book here and then the next day I'm finding where it is, right? So a person like that trying to talk in front of a crowd, then even if you naturally don't have it, when you go in front of the crowd and you see all those eyes staring at you, even if you had practiced well, even if you had practiced several times with your friends, or when you go in front of a new crowd, you might forget whatever you practiced, you might forget, right? Because you're scared and your brain is not functioning. You want to dig a hole and go under the ground. You might feel embarrassed. So what I do at such instances is, when I'm practicing, I don't practice each word. I don't try to memorize word by word. Now, even today's presentation, I divided into 5 parts and I remembered, okay, so first thing, I'm going to talk about this. Second is this. So I tell myself the order in which I'm going to talk. And that's the only thing I try to remember, the order in which I talk. So when I go in front of the crowd, even if I'm scared, even if I'm lost for words, I know what is going to come next. Because when you put everything, exam kala hitala balana, you all are studying. We all study the day before the exam, right? And we all try to put everything to our brain the day before the exam. And what happens after exam? Question ekak ahuwama? We don't know. We don't remember anything, right? Because our brain has taken so much that we don't remember anything. So similarly, when you try to put a lot of stuffs to your brain, what happens is you won't be able to remember it. So try to break it down into points and just try to remember the flow of the points. And at that point, when you're talking, put in words, shape it, and finish off the presentation. But if you are a person who has a problem where you can't fluently put words, then I'm telling you, go according to, practice which is coming next and keep those 5 points in head and try to talk. But you might have a problem where you can't naturally put words easily and talk. You need to memorize before talking. So, ehema prashna tiyana kattiya, I would suggest you practice. You practice over and over again until you memorize the entire script. Okay, that's the only thing I suggest that you can do. But ek podi disadvantage aga tiyana. Now let's say you practice everything and you know your script from top to bottom, you know, and your brain would, like when you're just saying it, comes out of your mouth, right? Ehema vunama, when you're going and presenting it in front of a crowd, what happens is you don't have that natural expression. Why? Everything is there in your brain and it's just coming out. It's flowing out. The words are flowing. You won't feel what you're saying. When you don't feel what you're saying, the audience will also don't feel what you're saying. Okay, so that's a small disadvantage. But at the beginning stage, if you want to get rid of this fear of forgetting, you might as well practice and be thorough with the script. And with time, maybe you can go with that 5-point rule. Know which point is coming after what. Okay. Next, the fear of being judged. Okay, I think this one also was mentioned in the chat. Where you all have then fear of being judged happens in two ways. Okay, I'll share you my personal experience. Then I am a person who is more like an old school. Then I like songs from 1990s. එහෙම. හරි. So when I'm talking with my friends, I am scared to share my things that I like. Then ඒගොල්ලන් songs ගැන කතා කරනකොට they are all talking about this මොකද්ද මේ Korean singers and all of that. I'm lost. Okay, I don't listen to any of those. I'm not being offensive against this K-pop fans. Okay, don't feel bad. But I personally like songs that are very old. එතකොට I'm scared to share it with them. They might think that I'm old school, right? They might think that I'm not updated. And the content wise, we might feel scared to judge. මං opinion එකක් තිබ්බහම will others accept it? Will they accept what I'm saying? එහෙම නැත්නම් would they think, what kind of a child is she living in this 21st century? එහෙම, right? So it might be judging based on your content. එහෙම නැත්නම් you might be scared that you might get judged for your weaknesses. Okay, now I know there was a friend who says Hall, H-A-L-L, she can't pronounce H. Okay, so it goes as all. Then I had another friend where he can't say coniferous forest. The F becomes coniferous forest. Okay, so that is not, there is nothing there to laugh in that, but they themselves are scared that people might judge them. Among coniferous forest, people are going to laugh, right? So they are scared, and because of that, they don't talk in English. Okay, they're saying, I don't want to be judged to Homer. So this fear of being judged can happen because of your weaknesses, and some people can't talk fluently where they get stuck. So they are scared, right? What would people think about me? But guys, let me tell you, right? Then fear of being judged can, whether you do something really nice, then even after this presentation, I might have things to improve. Right? So no matter how you do it, there'll be people who will not agree with you. That is something that's even to your life, it would follow up, right? No matter how good you be, no matter how you try to improve yourself, there's always room to improve. So don't get scared of what people think. I'll tell you, the best way to overcome this fear of being judged is you develop an attitude as just do it. Go there, do it, come down with the best face on your smile, or best smile on your face. The audience can be ugly to you. The audience can make faces to you. They might sleep while you're talking. The audience can say, Harpo, what is she saying? Okay, give you such expressions. No matter what, guys, if you know that you have done your part, if you know that you have rehearsed, go up, speak, and come down. You're unique. Right? So don't be scared. You have to develop that just do it attitude. And if you develop that in your life, I think you don't have to worry about what people think. So that applies to public speaking as well. Okay. So that's about fear of being judged, and then fear of unexpected. Okay. This is something that I've had, I have this issue, guys. මොකක් හරි වෙන්න කලින්, now I sit down and think, what if this happens? What if there is a wire, I trip and fall? What if I wear a pair of heels and the heels break on the stage, right? What if a cockroach runs down my leg? Am I going to scream? So this fear of unexpected things, or let's say you crack a joke, Harida, and people don't find it funny. And how embarrassing is that? You ask a question and nobody answers. Then Udeta, I asked a question, and like after asking several times, and you all dropped a message. Okay, so I was ready for it. Even if you all didn't answer, I was ready. Like, I'm going to say something. So fear of unexpected is where you expect unexpected things to happen. Okay, and that is natural. It can happen. You might fall on the stage. Get up and excuse yourself and start following what you were supposed to do. A cockroach might run through a leg. It's fine. If you get scared, just try to control yourself and continue what's happening, right? You make a joke and nobody laughs. So what you basically do is you should have a backup plan. Then before a session, guys, you make sure that you sit down and think every corner that goes wrong. Right? You have to do that. You have to think at every place where it may go wrong. I have a question at this point, but what if they don't answer? What am I going to do? Then let's say you crack a joke and nobody asks, you can say something like this. Haha, see, it was not funny. No, I knew it's not going to be funny. Annehema, like turn the tables in a way that it supports you, right? Or let's say that they ask a question, like I did this, right? We had this speech competition called Speech Master in Gavel Club, and there was, when I was competing, I had a question, okay, how many of you or something I asked, and I was scared that nobody would respond, and I took two friends to my the place where I was competing. I was telling, "Mang question එක අහනකොට අත උස්සන්න. හරිද? And if you do it, I'm getting you something." So I got people to respond to me by hook or crook. I did it. I made it happen, right? So something like that. Look for the things that can go wrong and have a backup for everything, so that you would be calm and you would be composed before the session. Okay, so these are the 6 major fears that I thought, because based on my personal experiences, guys, these are the 6 major fears that I had, and I wanted to connect. And luckily, the chat box also, when I asked, you all had the same kind of fear. So I'm happy that I was able to help. But if you all have any more other fears, you can always drop a message, and like after the session, you can drop a message, and I'll be happy to help. Okay, so these are the 6 major fears. All right. Now, becoming a better speaker. Then we saw some fears and we said what you could do to overcome that, right? Now let's wonder. Then ogla hitang innawati, the people who talk well, like, you know, when you listen to Abdul Kalam's speech, or when you listen to Abraham Lincoln's speech, they are so motivating, so persuasive, and you might think, are people born in those families, they might naturally have it. Mate hemekak naha. There is nothing like that. Public speaking is a teachable skill. Remember that. Take it to your head. You can be taught and you can learn it. Okay, there's nothing, it's not a rocket science, or it's not something magical. You don't have to have it since birth, right? It's something that if you have the passion, you would be able to overcome. Remember that, right? So I'm going to tell you, because right after school, I did have a lot of passion, right? But I did not know what I should do when I stand on a stage, how I should react, how I should keep my hands, how I should maintain my posture, what I should do with my legs, should I bend it, should I stand straight? I did not know any of this, okay? So when I joined the Gavel Club of our university, I was basically taught, and I'm sure, guys, that there are so many platforms for you all to learn. It's just that fact that you should have that passion. And passion ka nati unat aulak nahe, go and learn, because public speaking is something important in your career, right? Though, I mean, you might be so knowledgeable, but if you don't know how to put forward that knowledge that you have in a way people can't understand, එතකොටත් වැඩක් නැහැ. So public speaking is there in your day-to-day life. Okay, so whether you have the passion or not, make sure you learn it. Okay, you make that effort to learn it. Harida. Okay, so to become a better speaker, rule number 1 is, guys, you should know your audience. Hari, now let's say, example that you're going to put a kuppy for your friends. Harida, then kuppy karanakoda kohomada. Are you all going to use technical words? Are you all going to speak in English? Or are you going to be, you know, teaching like a lecturer? No, right? Are 30 lectures karapu de, we are trying to cover it within 3 hours. Right? So you're going to be so simple. You're going to talk in a way that your friends can understand. Harima friendly. You might even sip a tea when you're talking, right? It's so informal. But let's say you're going to do a presentation in front of your lecturer and your friends. Can you talk like you're doing a kuppy? No, right? You have to impress your lecturers with your knowledge. Where done like what you research, you have to say in a way that the lecturer is like, this child knows something, right? So you have to impress them with your knowledge. What do? You use those technical words, you use those specific words that you all have to describe something. And then when your friends are listening, you want to make it interesting. So you try to balance between the lecturer and your friends when you're doing a presentation. but kuppy karanakuta eba mukkut adal naha. Those technical words, you're simplifying it and you're saying it, right? So based on your audience, you have to decide how you're going to talk. So rule number one is, guys, before you go for a session, let it be presentation, let it be anything, right? You should know who is going to be your audience. Are they going to be the age? Are they youngsters? Now I know that most of y'all here are undergraduates, and that's the only reason I'm using guys. Okay, if there are lecturers here, I will never use that because I know I can't be that friendly and informal, right? So you should know who is going to be your audience, what gender. If it's mostly girls and if it's only girls, maybe you can crack some inside jokes so they understand. If it's only guys, you can do that. But when it's a mixed audience, you have to be careful with what you say, right? Their language, their culture, their gender, age. Oh, come on, you have to have a background knowledge of who is going to be your audience. Okay, and based on that, the way you present yourself, the things that you wear, it makes a huge difference. එහෙම කියලා මේ don't wear things that makes you uncomfortable like high heels ඔහොම දාලා වැටෙන්න යන්න එපා. Try to be comfortable, but at the same time be presentable. Okay, so that's what. And the other thing that I wanted to say is, now let's say that virtual, most of the things are happening virtual these days, right? So knowing your audience is something very, very important. Then without knowing your audience, if it's a physical platform, you talk, still your audience won't be able to get up and go. No? Before they get up, they will think, if I get up and go now, people are going to stare at me, right? So they will think twice. But then how many participants are there? I see 105, right? Then if it's boring, what happens? You can log out easily, right? So it is very important in a virtual platform for you to know your audience so that you can retain them. You can keep them in your meetings, okay? So that's something vital. Do your background check before you go for a session, okay? Secondly, guys, about the body language. Now, this is something, again, very important. Okay, whatever I'm saying it's important because it's important. Okay, body language. Now, there are a few components under body language. The first is the posture. Okay, in a day-to-day life, myself, I don't stand very straight. Okay, I'm comfortable with hunching. Okay, but that's me. But before I go on stage, I make sure that I raise my shoulders, I lift my face up, and I maintain a very steady posture. Why is that? If you go up on stage and you are kind of hunching and you're slouching, people think that you're not a very confident person and they don't feel like talking to you also. Then even in virtual platform, when you're sitting, you don't get a chance to stand. You can, but if you're sitting, you can sit like this and talk. You can sit like this and talk, have your hands crossed. You have so many ways of presenting yourself. But it's always advisable to never keep your hands on your desk or, keep it still, closed hands. Be presentable, sit up straight, put your head up and use your hands, right? So this posture plays a very important role based on how you present yourself, okay? Secondly, about hand gestures. Now, how many of you all know this man in this picture? Anyone who knows, you can unmute and answer, or you can drop a message. Anyone who knows who this person is? He's from Sri Lanka. Can't be that nobody knows. Someone. You can unmute or you can drop a chat. Oh, yes. Dhananjay Hettiarachchi. Okay, great. Right. So he is, guys, he's Mr. Dhananjay Hettiarachchi. He basically won the World Champion Speaker competition in 2014. Right. And I would advise you, because this was one of the speeches that gave me goosebumps when I watched it. It's so nice, right? I would advise you not now, after the workshop, may I see something in you. That was his speech topic by Dhananjay Hettiarachchi. You can YouTube it and watch it. It's so nice the way he presents himself, his posture, his hand gestures. Now, can you see the arrow mark there? What it basically shows, the hand gestures is basically your hand movements, okay? Now, as beginners, as speakers, what we tend to do usually? We keep our hands like this, right? I have done it and have seen so many people do that. When you're doing presentations, you tend to close your fist and keep like this. Now, when we are scared, what do? We are like this, right? That's something as humans we do when we are scared. But when you're welcoming, you'll be like, hi, like that, right? So when you're a person who is welcoming, you have your hands open, wide open, right? And the moment you close your hands like this, it shows that you are scared. So never ever, when you are presenting on stage, when you're presenting to someone, when you're addressing a gathering, never keep your hands like this. If you don't know what to do with your hands, just put it down. Either side, put it down, right? Or if you want to use your hands, always use it in a way where you show your palms. Don't address like this. Always use it like this. Talk like this. Because this side, when people see, it's more pleasing than showing this side of your hands. Okay, so always use open palm gestures. Never close your hands and show the palm. That would make a huge difference. Okay, and second mistake that we commonly do. Can you see Obama here? Okay, what is he doing? What is so special about him? Then look at his way of using his hand. Here, see, the appear politicians, I'm not kind of offending anyone or something, but this is something you can relate, right? News එක බලනකොට what do our politicians do? මෙහෙමනේ කතා කරන්නේ. මං QI sign form ගේන්න එපා කියලා. නොහොමනේ, right? This finger is always pointing, right? And that is not good. You don't do that in public speaking, right? You never point your finger at anyone, because the moment you raise your finger like this, what happens is you become a dominating person, an argumentative person, and nobody wants to listen to such person. Nobody wants to listen when you're being dominating and argumentative. But when you're being very friendly, and look how Obama does it so nice. Look at his finger. Without pointing like this, he uses it like this. And doesn't it make a huge difference by talking like this and talking like this, right? So these are few things, guys. I mean, at one go, you won't be able to do it. But if you're conscious when you're talking, you can improve, right? So remember, never show your finger like this. Always try to hold it at least like this, so that people would feel that you're more friendly and not dominating. Okay. Right. Finally, the facial expressions. Okay. Let me put it like this. Then I start my presentation. Okay. And I go like this. Okay. I'll be like this. Good morning, everyone. Today, my presentation is going to be on public speaking. I hope you enjoy. So I have a slight vocal variation, but there is nothing on my face. What happens? I'm sure you would have left by that time, right? Where they announce, good morning, everyone. I hope all of you wear the mask and maintain social distance. Under like that announcing tone, you have the vocal variations, but do you even feel like listening to them? No, right? Because you don't see any facial expressions. Facial expressions play an important role, guys, right? Especially in a virtual platform, because when you're presenting now, you can't move, right? And your hands are also restricted. So, the way that you express yourself highly depends on how you put your expressions, right? How you react to it. When your tone is changing, change the way that your eyes, change the way your mouth moves, right? And this facial expressions is so important because it can grab people's attention based on how you say it. Okay, it's not just the vocal variations. The way you express yourself is something very important. Okay, so this, as I said, doesn't come overnight. You can develop it by kind of practicing it. Okay, make use of it. Get yourself used to it, and that's the only way that you can come out of it. Okay. Next one, the stage movements. Now, in a physical platform, using your stage, in the sense you have an option, right? You can stand in one place and perform, or you can move from one place to another. Now, usually when you're freaked out, you people stand in one place, right? But when you're more comfortable, like when you get a call from your VC, okay, or maybe your head of the department, you get a call. Do you all move up and down and talk? No, right? You stand in one place and be like, Hello, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, yes. Like that, right? You're scared. The moment you get scared, you stand in one place. You don't walk. But let's imagine one of your best friends call. Oh my goodness. The call would go for 30 minutes. And for that 30 minutes, most of us walk up and down. Well, I do that, right? I go around my house with the phone. Okay, we walk because the moment we are comfortable, we walk up and down. So similarly, guys, when you're on stage or when you are presenting yourself, if you're walking up and down, it gives this impression that you are comfortable in what you're saying. Okay? But don't overdo it. Or buying, don't walk up and down like this where people doesn't know what you're doing, right? When you're walking, go to one corner, take a pause, say a line or two, go to the other corner, say a line or two like that. Because stage movement, when you're moving up and down, that's the biggest gesture. Then hand down, it's like this, no. But stage movement, your entire body is moving. So the way you walk matters. The way you keep your body and you move, it matters, right? So stage movement is the biggest gesture that your body does. And the moment you start walking, you feel like you're owning the entire stage, the entire area that's given to you. And by that way, you can get the audience's attention, just not looking with your eyes, but if you can move from one corner to another, you're getting their attention more, right? Or a lecturer කෙනෙක් ඔයා ළඟට ආව ගමන්, you get scared and you kind of sit like this and listen, right? Same thing implies here, right? And authenticity, as I said, because the way I walk is not the way you walk, right? So the moment you walk on stage, that gives that natural authenticity of you, the way you present yourself. So stage movements is vital. Then your next question can be, what happens in a virtual platform? Usually, guys, when it comes to a speech competition, we recommend for you all to stand and present. Okay, to deliver your speech, to stand with whatever the screen that's available, use the stage movements. But when you all are doing presentations, it's good if you all can stand and present. If not, you can sit and do it, but make sure that now stage movements are restricted, right? So you can't do anything by sitting. At that point, make use of your hands wisely. Like, don't show it like this, okay? Don't make it so clumsy. The way you use your hands matter. The way you use your facial expressions matter. The vocal variation matters. So these things you have to use to cover up the fact that you can't walk in a virtual platform, okay? And then next, energy, pace, and vocal variation. Now, this is also again one of my favorite things that I kind of follow. Let them feel they are better when they are with you and want to see you again. Now, haven't you all felt like you randomly meet someone, okay, canteen ek hari, kohari or yana, and you meet someone, right? And once they leave, you'll be like, damn, like she has that vibe, she gives you that energy, or he gives you that energy, right? You feel that. So when you are on stage, you won't be able to give that vibe to everyone, but try to give it to most of them, the majority of them, right? Your energy should be able to resonate with them. But ehema kiyala, now there are people like this, right, who are very silent, who are very calm, and who are composed. And then there are people who are very jovial, jumping up and say, hey, yo, bro. There are people like that as well, right? And then there are people who are intermediate. Are godak calm with neme, are swaggy yo bro with neme, somewhere in the middle, right? Ehema katiya tinna. Then if this person who is very calm and composed tries to go on stage and be like, hey, yo, I'm here to tell you something, right? Ohoma kela, if you try to shout and kind of become this very energetic person, trust me, you're going to be a joke there. Okay, don't try to imitate anyone or don't try to be anyone else. You are you. You have an energy that's very unique to you. Figure that out. Figure what kind of a person are you. Are you able to make jokes? Like, I am really bad at making jokes. Okay, like I can't then prepare vela mata kiyanna puluwan, but when it comes to sarcastic things or cracking jokes on spot, I'm bad, and I try not to do that as well. I don't know. I don't know if I tried it today and it turned out bad. I'm sorry about it, but I try not to do that as much as I can because I know that I'm bad in cracking jokes. So you should know your energy and what you're good at and improve that, and not try to be another speaker, because you become the joke there. Okay. And then, okay, so let's say that you might want to then are energetic Katya when they're on stage, they can somehow get audience attention. But at a calm and composed Katya, what if I'm someone like that, and what if I go on stage and I can't get their attention? What do I do? So Evele, what you can do is ask questions. How many of you here believe in what I say? Raise your hands. So the people who are sleeping also tend to, kind of look up and raise their hands, right? So there are so many other techniques that you can do to get their attention in a way that's comfortable for you as well. Okay. Then next one, the pace. Okay. Pace is basically the rate in which you're talking. Then I tend to take pause. Okay. Because Matabai, one reason if you all understand what I'm saying. Okay. And the other thing, if I try to talk fast, I slip words and I say something else which I'm not supposed to say. Okay. So to be on the safe side, I talk slowly. But there might be people who are good in their vocabulary. I mean, I actually look up to such people who are really good. I can't do that, right? When I'm talking fast, my words start to twist and my vocabulary is kind of not that great. So if you're good in your vocabulary and if you can talk fast without slipping, go ahead. But make sure that the audience understands what you're saying. Okay. And if you're this person who takes a lot of pauses in breaking and talking, that's also fine. Don't try to go at one go just because you feel that people would feel lazy when you take too many pauses, right? So control the pace based on what you're comfortable with. And then vocal variations. Okay, now this also plays an important role. Now let's say like you be like, guys, I got selected to Japura Uni, right? And that has a high variation. And let's say you come and say, guys, I got selected to Japura Uni. See, that shows that you were not interested in getting selected, but you got selected. At the first time, it was like you were excited, you're excited to join Japura, right? So you can see the variation. The facial expressions might be the same, but based on your variations, what you're trying to express totally changes, right? And your vocal variations means like increasing the pitch, decreasing the pitch, those things, right? So you've got to have that in your while you're presenting so that people can listen to you actively. All right. So these are the three things, guys, that I wanted to focus: the body language, the stage movements, and your energy, pace, vocal variations. All right. So that's it. But I just thought I'll add this food for thought, because when I was in my school, I always loved it when when we had workshops. I always loved it when they come and tell us something to take home. I don't know how many of you all were listening, but when you have a message to take home, that actually goes to my head, right? So I thought I'll include that as well. Now, I'll tell you two stories that happened, right? One is that, one story, sorry. One is that now during Vesak times, guys, right? I was going out with my friends and it was near Bear Lake. We were watching all of these lanterns and so many decorations that were done. And then there was this dance for free ice cream, right? So my friends were saying, can we go there and get the ice cream? So basically you have to stand in the queue was so long. You have to stand in the queue and get the ice cream, right? And me, being someone who is very lazy to stand in the queue, I was like, Ane, you want to go and stand there and get the ice cream? Why can't we go to a shop and buy and have it, right? And they were like, no, Subhani, it's free ice cream. I was like, the line is long. And she's like, no, it's free ice cream. So, I mean, when I went home, the thing that struck me was my friend was looking at the free ice cream and I was looking at the problem, right? The queue being too long. And that's how it's even in our lives, right? Even though you want to do public speaking, you're passionate about it, we all tend to look at the problems that's stopping us, right? The problem of being judged, the problem of forgetting stuff, the problem of pronouncing words wrong, problem of what is people going to think about me, right? All of these small things stops us from getting what we want. That's number one. Second thing that I wanted to say is, guys, that if you think that you know something a little better, if you think that you have knowledge in something, I mean, in a particular area, if you have a little bit of knowledge, feel free to share it with your friends, right? And if you feel that you're not that good in such an area, feel free to be humble and to learn, because the more you share it with your friends and the more you learn, that makes you a better person. There is no point in you growing bigger and bigger. And most importantly, when you see someone pronouncing words wrong, when you see someone saying a word wrong, dictionary, but he's saying it right, don't correct them in front of everyone, because that can put that person down and might not even make that person talk again, right? So when you feel that he's doing something wrong, may correct him in private. Try to do that, right? Pass like a message, Machang, you said this, but it should be like this. Try to correct it next time, right? So likewise, try to be there for each other and be that backup for each other. That should be a thing that we all develop, right? So those are the two things that I wanted to say. And in addition, I wanted to say, guys, because English බැහැ කියලා කට්ටියක් ඉන්නවා නේද? I love public speaking. හැබැයි university එකේ most of the things are in English. Lectures are in English. Presentations are in English. So I can't talk in English and I'm scared to present because of that. I will tell you a good example. I won't mention the name, Hari. There is a guy from a very own batch, right? During my orientation time, he was there with me in my same group, and he said, I can't talk in English, right? We had to do a group work where we had to write something in English. I can't talk in English. And you wouldn't believe, very recently, he dropped me a voice note in English. And I was so happy like to see how far he has improved, right? And why I'm saying this is, guys, English is yet another language. It's not something you can't learn. And if you want to talk in English, the best way is talk in English. If you want to learn, you can watch movies. Movies, you're listening to words. You can read books. Again, you're seeing words. But if you want to improve the way you talk, you have to talk. Even if it's wrong, then I learned Sinhala by talking. Okay, my pronunciations are wrong, but when I talk in Sinhala, when I go wrong, my friends correct me, right? So that's how I learn Sinhala. So the same thing, if you want to learn English, you've got to talk in English no matter whether you go wrong. And the others who are there trying to correct that person, don't try to correct him in public, try to do it in private, okay? So that's all about my session, guys. Just wanted to help you out now. I'm not a pro in public speaking or anything, but I myself, with the help of my friends, have learned something, and I felt that sharing my knowledge would help you to some extent, right? So that's all. I hope that I helped you all in some extent, to carry forward in your passion on public speaking. So yeah, that's it. If there's any question, guys, you can drop a chat, or you can unmute and talk. Any language is fine. Okay.
Thank you, Subhani. I guess all of us can relate to Subhani's content. And I hope all you had a wonderful, valuable and informative time with us. Thank you again, Subhani, for giving us your precious time and this valuable input, even with your busy schedule. You all can rewatch our workshop series through our AFST YouTube channel, and to broaden your knowledge on food science, you can like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Both links will be given in the chat box. Also, we invite you to join the LinkedIn session this evening, and many more exciting sessions are yet to come. Now the time has come to wind up our session. Thank you, everybody. Have a nice day.